hosting the whole AAU thing. You chased after girls together. You helped each other pick colleges. Those guys want to play with each other, and whether we think he's weird or not, I think Kyrie's weird. But he's weird, but he's our weirdo, and for whatever reason. Oh no, it's not for whatever reason. It's because they know Kyrie can flat out ball, and all of your weirdness, all of your eccentricities. Jordan got along great with Rodman, and who gets along great with Rodman, right? It's if you can ball, and if you can impress another player, they're gonna want to play with you, and they're gonna want to be friends with you. You know, so AD and Kyrie, I don't know why. Kyrie is his boy. KD is his hero. Right? That's someone he respects. That's someone he believes in, much in the same way that LeBron is his hero. So he trusts him to be his agent. He trusts him to bring him to the Lakers. He trusts him. They may even have like a handshake deal where it was like, yo, I'm going to come help you get this last championship, but then after that, you got to let me do what I got to do. Right? That may be understood right now as we're speaking. And the reason why is he probably does not want to pass up a chance of playing with Kevin Durant and playing with his boy Kyrie. If it wasn't for the fact that we're capped out and it's going to take a trade and it's going to take us gutting ourselves to get him, I would be all in. I would have pushed some chips into the window in Vegas. But I'm telling you guys what I know after being told what I was told and having several conversations. Yo, Anthony Davis looks like it's going to happen. And if it's going to happen, we're going to have a completely new roster to look at. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that like I'm very at this point now. I'm more anxious because now I'm honestly excited to see what Nash is going to do with this group, as opposed to possibly making like a ton of moves. Now I kind of want to see Nash have all these tools in the shed.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be an interesting fall versus summer. We'll see, man. We'll see. What do you think of the bubble games? What stood out to you before we wrap this thing up?
So, I mean, as someone who's spent a lot of time rooting against LeBron, I'm hoping, and who loves Kawhi, I would love to see Kawhi win a third title and become Finals MVP with 3 different teams. And so I've been rooting for the Clippers, but they obviously got a huge break with everything that happened with the Mavs. I think we're going to start to hear. I think by the end of the bubble, and I know an article by Goodwill came out earlier today. I think you're going to start to hear a lot of Giannis rumors. That's going to be, I think, the story of this entire offseason.
It's lazy.
And because even though I think unlike the LeBron situation, where that I thought when LeBron left the first time in Cleveland, I thought that he really was just without a lot of help and whatnot, and I think the management had done such a terrible job. Whereas I think the Bucks have actually made a lot of savvy moves. I think Giannis honestly isn't playing like a 2-time MVP, and so because of that, I think that's going to be really interesting, and that'll become the off-season story of the bubble. But overall, I think it's been great. I think it's really good for the league. I think it's great the way the players have used their platform. I think the postponement and the hiatus they took was awesome, and they're really seeing how much power they have, and it's only going to increase. And I love the owners using the stadiums as polling stations, and I think that should honestly only be the beginning now. So
yeah, I mean that's so dope. Like I usually vote around the corner at a school. I'm going to vote at Barclays Center this time, and I think that's. Again, my biggest thing about this whole thing, and obviously I'm black, you're Jewish, right? Yeah. with everything that's going on, the turmoil and the social stuff that's going on. I commend the players who played, right? Because you have to be in it, right? You have to have the camera on you for the windows into the world that don't care, right? A lot of people just don't care about police brutality, social justice, or any of that. But the way you beam into those homes and you kind of show them that this is important, this is real, it's from the on-court stuff. It's like I saw so many people tweeting, Kyrie is right. No, Kyrie is fucking wrong. And I think these games have shown it. Like, what other time are you going to watch something that the entire 2 hours that you're watching, it says Black Lives Matters on the side? Where you're taking the time out to kind of read what's said on the back of each jersey of messages of peace and equality and justice. That's important. And when you just basically, take your ball and go home, you're out of the game now, literally and figuratively. You're not a part of the process to make things better. You're not holding the gun to the head of these owners to do the right thing. The last thing Tillman Fertitta wanted to do, or DeVos wanted to do, was open their stadium to encourage voting in their cities. It's not what they wanted to do. But these players put pressure on these people and put pressure in it because their playing is the commodity. Once you don't play, you've lost your commodity. You've lost your bargaining chip. You've lost your leverage. And I'm not a basketball guy. I'm also not a civil rights guy per se. I believe in social justice. I believe that's what's happening is wrong, and this country needs a lot of change. However, I believe the best thing that a Jim Brown could do, the best thing that a Bill Russell could do, and Bill Russell specifically, he shamed and changed a lot of people's hearts in Boston, which is one of the most racist places that I've ever visited. And they never respected him and loved him, but as they should have, considering he's an 11-time champion and he's even won a championship as a coach. That guy should be a god in Boston, right? And and for whatever reason he's not. However, he's changed the hearts of thousands of people, if not all of them. He's changed 10%, and Boston is better for having Bill Russell play on the court and show these racists and show these small-minded, backwards people that we're better, and that we work hard, and that we earn this, and that we'll fight for it, and that we're going to stand up for it. Nobody knows what Kyrie's doing. Just because a press release comes out that he's giving money to this thing and he's paid for some WNBA players, it's not as powerful as what these guys are doing by showcasing what they do best, their very best talent, and using it as a cudgel to beat these owners over the head and make them listen. And it's been brilliant, man. I'm really proud of the guys in the bubble. I don't understand what's happening with Giannis in Miami. I still think he's going to come back and win it. I think all the Giannis slander is ridiculous. That guy is the ultimate weapon in basketball. But the Giannis stuff kind of makes me start to agree with you in the sense of, Giannis is way better defensively than KD. However, Giannis can't stop KD either. And that's what I'm noticing. Like, this Jimmy Butler thing is not going to last. I don't believe in it. Well, you're going to have to show it to me for 7 games.
Yeah, they don't have. I agree about the the Heat thing is weird because the Heat have like this. If Butler is like 25% better, like let's say Butler is like KD or whatever, then you're like, oh, this Heat team is like the perfect team to win the title. It's still weird to think that a Butler-led team where he's, look, as good as Bam is and as good as Dragic is, he's clearly the best guy on the team, but he's even himself not a top 10 guy. So it's weird to imagine that going to the finals. But but yeah, I mean, so I totally agree from that perspective. And the one thing I want to just hop on the social justice element is like I feel like a lot of people still don't like kind of understand the difference in the power that like an NBA player has versus an NFL player. Like
Right.
if 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 LeBron James decides, let's say I won't use LeBron because he's now on the Lakers, but if Giannis decides I'm not going to play today, the amount of random kids and dads and whoever that decide to buy tickets for that game is going to go down a phenomenal amount. Whereas if Tom Brady decides I don't want to play for the Bucks on Sunday, everyone's still going to the game. People like as I forget what the saying is, but like when you're being a lot of times when you're a sports fan, you're basically rooting for laundry.
That's right.
In the NBA, that's not what you're rooting for. You actually are like a lot of, especially with like the millennial generation and people even younger than me, because like a lot of people my age still care about teams, but like when I look at my younger cousins and stuff like that, like the people are rooting for the kids are rooting for players. Like
they're rooting for the guy they use on 2K.
Yeah, like
Right.
I've gone to games sitting. I've gone to Nets games, whether it's sitting in the upper deck or sitting in the lower level, where I'm sitting next to a dad and his son, and they live in New York, but the kid is wearing a Curry or a Giannis jersey. Like there's like the whole rooting for teams thing for younger generations is not a thing, and like the players I think are starting to know that, and they see that like their influence actually is in the tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Like LeBron leaving Cleveland, we saw like straight up like restaurants and stuff like that did worse. Like it has that type of it has that type of vibe. Like the Patriots bars are still going to be packed even though Brady left. Like obviously we have COVID, but like and the players have a monumental financial factor. Sway, right? Yeah, in how much money like these teams make. And look, some people say that might make certain owners who maybe are conservative or Republican, whatever they are, like not want to own teams, which is fine because there's enough billionaires out there that want to buy teams. There's a line of them.
There's a line of them. You know.
Especially with the foreign guys that are now coming in, like the size of the world, like
that's right.
Like it's fine. And like I think the NBA players are really going to be able to control what's going on.
Right, and you never give up your power. Right, you never give up your spotlight. You never give up. Right now, nobody's thinking about Kyrie except us. Right, nobody's thinking about him. He's an afterthought. But Jamal Murray reminds us in the post game thing. Yeah, I just won. I just clinched. I'm going on to the next thing. But this social justice stuff matters, and you can't do that if you're not playing. If you're not doing your job at the highest level. And I'm pro player. I'm pro the people. I'm out here, right? But I think LeBron James, and I give him a lot of credit, did a lot for the movement and did a lot for social justice, and I really appreciate that guy above and beyond, because sitting home and pouting was never going to do anything. The moment you cost that owner the league the $700 million that it was about to lose if these bubble games didn't, it was going to affect your NBA brethren and all of this magical thinking stuff about starting a league and all. You don't start a league in 60 days. You're not going to just do Drew League and throw some teams together and people are going to do it. I think it's a novel concept. However, and I'd love to see players one day start their own league, but you got to be in it to win it, man. You just got to.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, man, another amazing podcast.
Oh yeah.
You've brought a lot to us. We have a new head coach, man. You feel good?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited.
I feel great, man. It's the Front Office Pod. This is my partner, Sam LaChow, available at Samuel LaChow on Twitter. And me, Yves Darbouze, the name you can't spell on Twitter, but you might know who I am if you're listening to this pod. This has been us, man. Steve Nash it is.